Hi, my name is Christof Ebert. I'm the Managing Director of Vector Consulting Services. I'm glad to welcome you to Vector Forum 2021, and I will give now a short intro to the content of Vector Forum and also towards the topic of software-driven innovation. The presentation is structured in three parts. The welcome, where we also go through the agenda. Then a major part which is focusing on software-driven innovation, that is Leapfrog your legacy, because that is really what is innovation, and a short summary, where do we go from here? Let me briefly introduce to Vector Group. Vector is globally active with about 3,500 persons worldwide in 30 locations. We have a turnover of about 700 million in 2020, and we are split into several product lines, such as base software, where we are market leader of AutoSAR, testing tools, product lifecycle management, and of course also the consulting, which is my responsibility. Inside the consulting, we have four themes, namely trust, technology, transformation, training. And that nicely fits to the different topics which we had in the previous Vector Forum, because we can then also see that we try to cover the whole range of our consulting activities, and that is of your needs as our customers. That is, if you look to these blue bubbles, this is what we had been focusing in the previous years, since 27, when we had the first Vector Forum, and it's already a very big range of very different topics. And this year, 21, we have software-driven innovation. So what does it mean, and what is the content of this Vector Forum? The presentations are lined up here. You can, of course, also access those directly if you just go to the agenda and our Vector Forum site, which is www.vector.com/forum. So you don't have to now take a screenshot here. You can also see this agenda online, or maybe you still have a flyer at hand. We are currently in the introduction, and then we are always separating the slots with some 20-minute breaks. Why are the breaks? Well, for two reasons. One, it allows us to switch to the new recording away from the Q&A, because each session has a recorded presentation such as this one, and there is a Q&A at the end, and the Q&A is live. That means we want to give a little buffer in between these different settings, but it also allows you to get time for making a phone call, getting a cup of coffee, or whatsoever is relevant to keep you productive and keep you energetic to listen to this presentation. Directly after my presentation will be Max Montenbroek from Porsche and what is now called Carriot, which is the car software organization of the Volkswagen Group. Very glad to have Max here to present. We have been working together for a while, and it's really challenging, as fast as these cars are the topics which we have to approach. Then we continue with ZF, and we have Ingo Alfter, who I also know for many years. And I'm glad to have Ingo here on a topic with innovative software concepts in the safety critical domain. Then we move on to a full different topic. And here we have my friend Mani from Siemens Healthineers in India. We had been working on collaborative and medical topics for about 20 years now. And I'm very glad to have Mani from India also in our Vector Forum. After a break where we look also into some sort of virtual exhibition and a quiz, which I want to keep you invited because it's an online quiz where we also have some surprise prizes. We continue with three more presentations, namely about innovative software and software development from my colleague Uli Bodenhausen, who has a wide experience in innovation, not only from the consulting, but also from previous industry experience. Then we continue with Jörg Francis from Volkswagen on the topic of software update management. We are working with Jörg since a while, and I'm very glad to have him also in this presentation, having then also one of these really innovative topics, which is how can we achieve in safety critical systems, in homologation driven systems, a steady over the air update as you might be used from your smartphones. The final presentation would be from Mercedes-Benz. So that's the third OEM which we have in this presentation. Of course, we have another OEM, which is then Siemens. So a set of OEMs which present, a set of tier ones which present. And here we have Matthias Schneider, who has been working with us on different topics and today gives us a perspective on user experience, which is really the showcase for innovation in any of the setups where we are active, not only in automotive, but in any IT application. It's the UX, which keeps a customer or distracts a customer. And he will give us also an insight how this connects then with over-the-air update. Let me briefly dive into the topic of software-driven innovation to also give you an idea how this relates to each other and why is innovation so important. And I took a picture some 2 years ago at a conference that was still before COVID, when we had the traditional conferences, which for sure will come back when we have the vaccination. And Volkswagen had a huge booth at this conference. It was, by the way, an IT conference. It was not an automotive conference, because in consulting, we not only look in automotive, we also look in related disciplines. So here was an IT conference, a rather big one. And they had this booth saying, do we really want to employ people who want to get rid of cars? Which asks a very good question, which is, today, the car is the means to transport a user experience and to satisfy needs, but not necessarily needs along understanding how the engine is working, but more needs along mobility. And mobility can be achieved in many different ways, as we have learned the hard way in the past year with COVID, because that meant we still had to be mobile, but without much driving, flying, traveling. It's possible. It's not the easiest, but collaboration needs definitely software, but not necessarily that we have mobility services which go into real transportation. Now, Volkswagen, of course, doesn't want to get completely rid of the cars, but they are eager to look for people who help and foster software-driven innovation. And this is a real message. It's software stupid, to phrase a slogan which we know from other contexts. Now, innovation, of course, also needs to have some role model. And I took one which fits very nicely to this year Vector Forum, because it's a 50-year anniversary. 50 years ago, you would not believe it, in 1971, the real email approach was invented by Ray Tomlinson. Ray was working in the realm, in the scope of the ARPANET, which was the predecessor of what we today call the internet. And he got the task to make computers communicate. And he invented, based on this platform, something which allowed different computers not only to message, but also to really send asynchronous content to different users. And the one innovation which we still remember today is the email with the @ symbol. That means he separated the name, the recipient, the person, from the infrastructure, that is the computer and the network, with this @ symbol, because that symbol happened to be not really used amongst the limited set of symbols which were available in the initial ASCII table. And it shows us a couple of very nice ingredients, which I want to also use in order to show you what does it mean to innovate. First, create a new need. There was a messaging, but to really communicate to persons across different hardware entities, which should not be visible to the respective user. That was his innovation. Built on an existing platform. There was an existing platform, but he created this need on top of this platform. Nobody had before really sent an email between these devices in a way he invented. Use an agile team. Too often we see very big teams which don't produce much, they rather administrate. So use a small team. We have seen that also with Apple. Very small team, very effective. Prove the value, show that it's working. the nice part behind Ray's story here is that by inventing the email, he also eventually met a lady which eventually became his wife, because that lady saw immediately the value of this approach and created a newsletter. We talk about the early 70s, and she was creating a newsletter because she was a librarian, want to reach her users. So that's how they got in contact. He consulted with her, and that's also a way to meet people. And finally, grow incrementally. I mean, the email was not invented overnight, neither other systems. It's good to grow, show value, and grow further. And that's exactly also what we want to emphasize from consulting perspective. Looking to this survey, which we do on an annual basis, we see innovation ranks in the upper right corner of this picture, which is the short-term trends horizontally, the long-term trends vertically. But it also indicates cost, quality, and the lack of competence is a big challenge today. And we can easily get into this trap of a vicious circle to focus on innovation, but with the wrong quality level. And that means whatever we do, we have to balance between the mere innovation, the technology that's in the middle of the picture, and being competitive. And here is what Vector Consulting can really help you with, because we have seen all these different struggles in different companies and really have the experience to help you balance these different challenges. In our recent survey, we also found that in this new normal, people are eager to innovate. We see digital transformation a key topic. We see a clear, explicit focus on more innovation to prepare for tomorrow. Times are gone where we can just wait and see. We have to innovate. And innovation is based on ACEs. ACEs is an abbreviation for Autonomy, Convergence, Ecology, and Service, and applies across industries. It drives business, it stimulates business with new products, like services are the new product, more fluid business models, what we call the smartphone-like adaptive and flexible delivery, but also product management related topic, a lean valuation, and fast-growing liability risk. That's a real issue because we have not only safety, we have cybersecurity, we have many topics which make us liable. And that means from a technology innovation perspective, it's the big topic of the convergence of business IT and embedded. Business and product go together. And we have, of course, also the need to agile innovation, include the different technology topics and drive continuous X with the different agile approaches. Here's a summary of some recent projects which we had over the past 1.5 years, and it shows, like what I just mentioned with the convergence for technology, for architecture, quality. Testing is now becoming a real topic. We have started to build a topic which we call test-driven requirements engineering to really line up testing in an efficient way with the needs. We have new lifecycle models. We have new ways to work together. Of course, tools are very fast evolving from the legacy and clumsy individual kitchen table tool chain to something more professional. And we see also changes in the trainings away from classroom, which is rarely done, more to online, more frequent training. And to summarize on what I would like you to take away from this introduction presentation, successful innovation has to build on these 5 topics, which we learned already with Ray Tomlinson, whose invention of email we celebrate this year with 50 years of email. Create new needs, build on an existing platform, use an agile team, prove the value, and grow incrementally. And that would help you to really achieve a benefit, unlike some of the not so good examples which we see if we look past technology innovation. Kodak, they were inventing the digital photography, but still embarked on their classic cash cow, and we know what happened. BlackBerry, who were very in front of all user experience with the handheld and still fail to deliver. They're more than that. And we see also good examples. Microsoft, who occasionally step backwards, invent new topics, but also change their culture completely. Or Apple, which is really the driver with these small agile teams to come up with new products and focus on value, focus on user needs. Where do we go from here? Well, I think one is that for today, for now, we have this exciting presentations, which will now just follow each other. For those of you who who listen to the recorded messages from these presentations. Of course, you can do that without any break. With the disadvantage, you cannot ask questions. For those who are live, please ask questions. We will answer these questions in the best possible way, the different persons with their presentations. During the middle break, the lunch break as we call, we will have this exhibition and we have the quiz. And in the end, we will have a resolution to the quiz. We will summarize from what we learned throughout these 6+1 presentations. I would like to invite you already now to our Vector Forum 22. You can register directly at www.vector.com/forum22. It's on the last Thursday of June, as we are used to. And the key theme, just building upon the software-driven innovation, would be, how do I become a software company? How do I get into the mode of an excellent software company? That needs more ingredients than only innovation. We will focus on that in our next year Vector Forum. And I want to finalize with a simple story which you certainly have heard. That's this bear which runs to some of the joggers or people which are around, and one would just start running while the other is gearing up his sneakers. And then the one which is gearing up the sneakers says, we need the sneakers because then we are maybe faster than the bear. And the other one says, there's no way to be faster than the bear. The only need is to be faster than you. And that's exactly what we have to take away. Innovation is about being faster than your competition. It's not to be faster than technology. You will never be. But be a step faster than your competitor and avoid the perfectionism trap. That was the other error which this other runner was making, that he was looking for his sneakers, and that would, of course, cost him some valuable time, and the story is clear. So thank you very much for listening into this brief introduction, and I wish you a very good Vector Forum 21 with this exciting presentation which we have in front of us. Thank you.